Greetings, friend. I'll give you 3 amazing tips about naked pairs while solving this Sudoku. The last one will unlock the key step you need to finish this puzzle. Click below if you want to give it a go. And with that, it's solving time. So let's start with the ones. We got a 1 here, and we got a 1 here. Only leaves one place for a 1 in block 5. And then if we look at these two ones, we got 2 possibilities for 1 here in block 8. And so what I just did is Snyder notation. Anytime a 3x3 block, you have 2 possibilities for a candidate. You're going to mark them, and in case you solve one of these cells, you can solve the other one right away. Also gives us some clues about some a little bit more advanced solving. Okay, then let's look at the 2s. All right, you got 2 here and a 2 here, 2 possibilities for 2 in block 1, and with these 2s, 2 possibilities for 2 in block 7, and then with these 2s, 2 possibilities for 2 up there in block 2, and with this 2 and this 2, 2 possibilities for 2 in block 6. There's 3 possibilities for 2 over here, so we're not going to mark that in block 9. Let's move on to the 3s. Might see that you have these 2 3s and this 3, so we can solve for 3 in block 8. Then let's see with this 3, you got 2 possibilities for a 3 up here in block 2. Nice. So far we're doing just great. And if you look over here in block 6, you have these 3s and this 3, so 2 possibilities for a 3 right there. We're about to get to where the naked pairs are going to come in handy. All right, we got these 2 4s. One place for a 4, and block 4 is right there. And then let's just look at the 8, because I see these 2 8s, and I want to do something about that. All right, it means we have to have an 8 right here, which displaces our Snyder mark. Once you do that, you can mark a 1 right there. And when this one and this one, we have 2 possibilities for a 1 right there, and those act as a pointing pair. So since a 1 has to be somewhere here in block 9, and it can't be anywhere except column 8, nothing else, no other ones can be in column 8. No other ones can be up there. So we can limit the 1s now to these 2 spots in block 3. But let's continue on with what these 8s are doing here, okay? Because the 8 allows us to solve for the 1 here. And then you have this 5 coming down. Can't be in those cells. So you got a 5 right there. And now I'm going to give you my first tip about naked pairs. So right here, you see there's only 2 possibilities left in block 8. Whenever there's only 2 possibilities left in a house, in this case, it's a block, but it also applies to a row or a column, that's called a naked pair, and you want to mark that. And so this is our naked pair of a 4 9. So a 4 9 cannot be anywhere else in block 8 right now. If you want to get familiar with the definitions of naked pair and the other top strategies used in Sudoku, download my free Sudoku solving guide by clicking on the pinned comment below. All right, after doing that naked pair, let's look at where the 6s can be. So you have these 2 6s in rows 2 and 3, means this cell has to be a 6. And then we can do some solving here in block 5, because you have this 6, means this cell has to be a 6. Awesome. And now with these 2 5s, we can solve for a 5 right here. And so we're creating some restrictions here. You'll notice is since we have this 4 9 right here, you have another naked pair up here. This is going to be a 3 or an 8. Okay, so let's look at where else these 6s can be. You got these 2 6s, 2 possibilities for a 6 right here. And then with this 6, these 2 6s, 2 possibilities for a 6 right here. Okay, now let's look at the 5s. You got these 2 5s and this 5. We can solve for a 5 in block 1. Awesome. And then with this 5, we have 2 possibilities for 5 in block 4. Okay, after doing that, we can look at block 9 and see these 2 5s and go, there's 2 possibilities for 5 down here. Awesome. So we're still using Snyder notation. We've got a couple of naked pairs on the board. What can we do with that? Well, next thing I want to look at is these 3 cells right here. You notice you have a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So this has to be a 7, 8, or 9. This is a naked triple. And I'll highlight that. And we can remove the 8 from here, we can remove the 9 from there because of what's in the row. And whenever you have a naked triple, that means whatever's left up here cannot contain those digits. And so this is going to lead us up to our second amazing tip. Our second amazing tip is that a naked pair can also act as locked canons. And I'll show you what I mean by locked canons. So first of all, let's add what can be here. All we got is a 2 and a 4. Okay, well the 2 and the 4 are in column 5. They fill out column 5 because this has to be a 7, 8, or a 9. Locked canons means when two cells, in this case a locked pair, appears in two houses. They are the same for two houses. So 2, 4 here is good for column 5, but it's also good for block 2. So what it means, this 2, 4 is a naked pair. It can no longer be 2 and a 4 cannot be anywhere else in block 2. That means this has to be either 7 or a 9. You got a 9 right there, so that's going to be your 9, and this is going to be your 7. Okay, can we do more solving with that? And yes, we can. We can now look at these two 8s and this 8 and see that we can solve for an 8 right here. Just going to disambiguate this 3 and the 8 over here. Nice. And now after we do that, we can continue to look at the 8s. You see these two 8s. Got a couple of Snyder 8s right there in block 4. And you can show that these are also going to be two possibilities for an 8. Just kind of notice where the 8s are restricted in blocks 4 and 5. Okay, now let's look at these 3s. You got these two 3s here and this 3. Now we can solve for 3 and get ready for it. Here it comes. 3 in the corner. Very nice. I love seeing that. With these two 3s and this 3, you can solve for 3 here, which displaces that Snyder 1. Awesome. And then with these two 1s, we can solve for 1 here, displacing the Snyder 2, which displaces this Snyder 2. We can solve for 2 here. Looking good. And then this 2 is going to help us disambiguate the 4 and the 2 right there. And now what you might notice is that we have a full house. There's only one possibility left. That's got to be a 4. And then you only have one possibility left right here. This has to be a 7. That's going to be your 4. And we have another naked pair of a 7, 9. But this is not my third amazing tip. I have that for you in just a bit. Okay, after solving all of that, we can now come down and look at column 3. We got this 2 here, so we can solve for 7 right there. And then you're going to be like, okay, Timberlake, where do I go now? It's not very obvious of which cell you're going to go to next. But I would suggest you go right here to row 7. And at this point, if you want to learn more about where to go and try to solve single individual cells, try out my single cell solving guide. I'll put a link right here. I choose this one because we have some restrictions here you may not be aware of. We're looking for a 1, 2, 4, and a 9 because we have 5 cells already filled in. Well, what does column 2 already have? A 2, 4, and a 9. We can actually solve this cell now for a 1, which displaces that Snyder 1 and allows us to solve for a 1 right there. Awesome. And then we can come over here and you see these two 1s and this one, we can solve for a 1 right here, displacing that Snyder 8. Which is going to allow us now to solve this cell for a 7. That's got to be your 8. That's got to be your 9. And this is going to be your 7. Okay. And we just filled out block 5, filled out row 5. So now we're here to my third amazing tip. And the way to get that is to first look down here and go, where can a 6 be in column 1? Well, it can't be here or here. It's got to be in this cell right there. So we can displace that Snyder 6. We can actually put a naked pair of 5 and 6 right there. And so this is going to be kind of cool because the third tip is that a naked pair acts as a pointing pair. It can also be a pointing pair. Since the 5 and the 6 are limited to these two cells in column 2, 6 can't be and 5 cannot be anywhere else along this column. And so we know this cell cannot be a 5 or 6. It has to be a 7 now. And we're about to do this again because you got a 4 and a 9 right here in column 1. You got this 4 and a 9 right here. So this is another naked pair in two separate blocks, but it's in the same row. And so what it does is it means that a 4 and a 9 cannot be in either one of those two cells. You might think this could be a 5 or 9 because you have the 7 right there, but it can't be a 9 because a 9's got to be one of these two cells. So we can actually solve this cell now for a 5, and then the only place left for a 7 in row 9 is right there. It's going to allow us to displace that 9 there and the 7 right there. And if you like that trick, subscribe to Smart Hobbies if you want to solve Sudoku naked pairs. All right, what we have left is a 4 and a 9 across here. I got my 9 right there, so that means this now has to be the 4. It's going to make this a 9, make this a 4. Makes this a 9, makes this a 4. We have the 9 here, means this is going to be your 9. This has to be your 2. Displacing that Snyder 2. That 2 displaces the Snyder 6. We can come over here and solve for the 6 and for the 5. I got 2 5s here. I don't see a 5 in block 6, so I can solve that for a 5. I have my 3 here, which displaces that Snyder 3. So we can solve for a 3 here, and our last digit is a 9. You can do so much more with naked pairs, like you'll see in this video. Please consider supporting me through my Buy Me a Coffee page. I really appreciate it, and thank you so much for watching.